So we're moving along. Now we come to our introduction. So as you can see on screen, we have introduction, and that has three components. The first one is K1 mark, which is for knowledge. C2 means that the C is for comprehension marks, and 2 means there are 2 marks for comprehension. And then the third mark is a K mark, again for a knowledge mark. And we've broken down each of those and given some points here. So for the introduction, the rubric says it has to be it has to be clear and concise, I believe. But so there's not much to say here. It has to be clear, it has to be concise, the objective should be clearly stated, and it has to relate to the purpose of the project. Right, so now we are at the comprehensive description of the project. So to earn 2 marks in this, you need to let us know what's going on. You need to give more about the project. You cannot simply say the project is to find the, let's just say, the heights of individuals. No. So to earn two full marks, students should go beyond simply stating what the project is about, and you could include some kind of information. Why did you choose the topic? Why is it relevant? Or you can give some background. So let's just say if you're dealing with handspan and footspan, define what they are. Well, the handspan is defined to be the distance between your thumb and your index finger, your little finger, whatever it is, the definition is, and give more information about it so that the reader knows what's going on and the direction of the project and why you're doing it. You can also mention advantages or real world relevance to the topic. For example, hire purchase is a common one. Why would somebody choose hire purchase? Obviously because you don't have the cash right now and you like to use the equipment or the item right now and pay for it eventually going down. Disadvantages of hire purchase, it's obviously more expensive in the long run because you end up paying more cash for it. However, the advantage is you have it right now to use. Let's just say if you're dealing with some soil analysis, or you are analyzing which soil could be best for planting, and you have different types of soils, loamy soil, sandy soil, different kinds of things. You need to define those things. So give some more things in your project when you're doing it, right? So students, you could also include a little history or personal connection to the topic. If you're painting your house, you want to find out how much paint to use, you're on a budget, you calculate the area, different things like that, because if you save any money, you'll get to buy something for yourself, right? Just make it relevant and give something extra. Just don't be plain and simple. Again, when we have the projects and we're going through the projects, you will definitely be able to see the difference in those projects. Right, so now we come to the table of contents. The table of contents is one of the easiest things to get marks for. However, I've heard a lot of students just don't get the marks. It's simple. What you need to have full marks in your table of contents, 3 things. First thing is you need to have a table of contents first. So in your project, you need to have table of contents and you have each topic. So you have title on page 1. You have introduction on page 2. You have method of data collection, whatever it is, analysis, whatever page. And the page, that's the first thing you need to have. You need to have an actual table of contents page. And then your project itself must be numbered. The pages must be numbered. We've seen, and again, when I say we, I'm speaking about the individuals who I spoke with who has experience with this, right? So I'm speaking on their behalf. So they have seen SBAs with table of contents and the project is not numbered. So obviously it's not a valid table of contents because you can't go to page 5 because the pages is not numbered. And then the third thing that you need to be sure about is that the pages actually match. So in your table of contents, if it says presentation of data on page 10, you need to actually make sure that on page 10 itself, there's the presentation of data for your project. And this, it sounds really simple, but sometimes it happens. It happens, probably you added an next section and you forgot to update your table of contents. Simple things like that. So don't make those mistakes. We also have a free Google template for you all to download. and use so that it has each of the categories, and then I'm going to go through with you all in the next video and show you all how to use it properly and how to refresh table of contents and how to make changes to the headings and things like that. So check that video out. It's going to be in the playlist for sure. All right, going down again. So the first point, the SBA must have a table of contents, pages must be numbered, and the pages must match. And we have a little bonus point there, so pay attention to detail. So when converting from either your Google Docs or a Word document into your PDF, depending on the amount of math you have and just depending its software, the pages and the page numbers sometimes get misaligned. It does happen sometimes, so just be sure and just double check it. Don't PDF it and just send it one time. PDF it, open it, make sure your equations are looking good, and then send it. And also a note to the teachers. I know sometimes we include the SBA rubric on the first page or some page in the SBA, and if it's numbered, then that throws off the entire numbering for the SBA, and that could lead to errors in the table of contents. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen. So always just double check it when you submit. Open back your PDF, make sure it lines up perfectly, and you're good to go. All right. So I hope it's going good so far. If you're enjoying the content, feel free. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We need this content to go right across the Caribbean because it's excellent content, and it'll just lift up the levels of SBAs that is produced by everyone.